Don, thanks for sitting down with me today. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Don, cotton seed is not something that we at Seed World cover a ton, and yet it is an incredibly important crop in the United States. And as I understand it, in April, you and some fellow scientists had some breakthroughs as far as the sequencing of cotton.
Yes, we had a major publication, as you mentioned, that came out. That was the Upland Cotton Genome Sequence. It's actually a high-quality draft. That was based on some foundational work that we did in one of the distant relatives that was published in actually December of 2012. So obviously this is a long-term endeavor. We actually started this, one of the principal scientists, the senior author on our paper in 2012, started on this some 15 years ago. But the community came together in 2007, wrote a white paper, and that was kind of the roadmap that we've used. And we did the diploid, call it great-great-great-grandparents, and based on those and some really nice papers we've done there, we were able to publish this in just a few months ago of this year on upland cotton, and we're quite pleased with it.
So what's that going to mean for the future of cotton?
Well, just like genome sequences in all crops, they in essence provide you a much better roadmap than we've had previously, so that we can identify alleles or genes that we previously may not have known, or if we knew about them, we didn't know exactly where they were. So they allow you to be a lot more precise in when you're going to look. And we're hoping to use those to increase, in the short term, some of the traits that are a little bit easier to work on, such as some of the disease tolerances, maybe fiber quality. There's fewer genes involved in those. And ultimately, we want to improve yield as it is in all crops.
Right. What are some of the big factors, issues, challenges that cotton producers are facing, and what are plant breeders in the U.S. doing? What are you focused on to try and improve?
Well, the number one issues for growers are probably erratic weather patterns that cause you to have rainfall and temperatures that go from high to low, and the unpredictability of that. And so because of that, they're looking for stability of yield, and breeders are looking for the same thing in stability of yield. So some of the breeders are working on yield and yield components. Others are looking for disease tolerance primarily in their breeding program. In the public sector, lots of the breeders are working on fiber quality. We've made a concerted effort in the public sector to look at that. And we've made some significant improvements in fiber quality, and that's being shown in germplasm that is coming from the private sector, because by and large the private sector delivers varieties to cotton growers, and they've enjoyed the same successes in fiber quality. But again, we focus on yield and the stability of yield in a ever-changing climatic situation where temperatures range from, let's call it unfavorable on the low end to certainly unfavorable on the high end, and likewise water and the availability of water.
One key part of your job is to assess research projects to see which projects get funding from Cotton Incorporated. Can you tell us a little bit about what components, what criteria need to be met? What's the decision making on which research projects get funding?
Sure. As a company, we have a mission, and first off, they have to fall under that mission. Our mission is to increase the profitability for growers. We also have a component. Our mission is for growers and importers of cotton, and so we're looking at. I look at projects, and others in our department look at projects that fit under that umbrella of that mission statement. And also, we obviously, if they're under that umbrella, we look at the scientific reason, the questions that they're asking. And then after that, Is it doable? Is it doable with the team that proposed it? Is it cost effective? What's the timelines involved? All of those come into play in determining whether you're going to fund a project or not.
What percentage of projects that come in front of you are funded?
Well, currently I manage about 80 projects, and I would say they span issues ranging from basic breeding in the field to more molecular biology to genomics. So they span everything that you would have that might come under the genetics field. For every one I fund, I probably look at three.
Okay.
3 additional. So
25%.
yeah, 25% or so, and that varies a little bit from year to year.
Right.
And again, most of our projects, well over 90%, are relationships we have with people in the public sector, both the USDA and land-grant universities primarily. But we also have close relationships with people in private industry. We hope we're not duplicating what private industry is doing. That's not in the best interest of growers to just duplicate what someone else is doing. We have a different mission.
Partnerships are a big deal in pretty much every facet of business, but especially I think in research these days. It's become a bit of a buzzword to have research partnerships. Can you talk a little bit about some of the key elements that you see in a great research partnership?
Sure.
Maybe throw out 3. You got 3 great components that make for a great research partnership.
Well, first off, the partnership has to be a win-win situation, whether you have 2 partners or 3 partners, however many that is. There has to be a winning outcome for each of those. I can give you a specific example. In the recent sequencing project we alluded to earlier, we in the group I fund in the genomics area had what's called a physical map, and it was a very high quality physical map, and that was of use to some people outside the country, and we knew the sequencing is a major task or undertaking, if you will, and they could see the benefit of our physical map. We also could see the benefit of some of the other components of the sequencing project that we could have utilized. And so we had a partnership that actually the fruition of it was we published a good high quality draft of the upland cotton genome. That was a specific example of a partnership, and we came to the party with something, they came to the party with something, and in essence we put 1 and 1 together and we got 3 rather than 2. Also, the other components you need, you have to have, both parties need to know what's expected of them. The best way to know what's expected is for both parties to communicate well with one another. And so those are all necessary for a partnership to, in the end, deliver the result that's desired.
Cotton's been around for a long time. If you look into the future now, and we look 10 years down the pipe, which I get is a bit of a stretch, what do you get excited about? What do you see that's coming down the pipe in cotton?
Well, in the short term, based on some of the sequence and some of the other genetic tools we have, or genomic tools, I believe disease tolerance not only is just around the corner, it's already being delivered. And again, in the cotton industry, the delivery of a product comes via the private sector, but they are already delivering disease tolerance based on these genomic tools specifically to nematodes. There will also be improvements in various foliar diseases, whether it's verticillium wilt or fusarium wilt, and there's others. I envision fiber quality to be not too far in the future, and in that regard, we will make upland cotton more like Pima cotton, and that can be boiled down to, we will make upland cotton longer, stronger, and finer, because those are the 3 basic components that differentiate, in terms of fiber quality, those 2 types of cotton.
Cotton Incorporated isn't your typical commodity group. Can you tell me a little bit about what makes it different from perhaps other commodity groups?
Well, I would say we do meet regularly with some of the other commodity groups, specifically the corn, soybeans, and wheat. We have a group that we actually organized some years ago. We're all organized a little differently. One major component that we're different is the checkoff dollars that come to us come from two sources. Every bale classed in the United States, and all bales are classed, there's a percentage of that comes to us. Also, the equivalent of cotton that comes into the country via an importer, and the importer could be Walmart, JCPenney, anyone that sells cotton products. That's also another source. I'm not aware of any other commodity group that has that funding source. But because of that, we're responsible for two somewhat different constituencies, growers and importers. And so it makes it a little bit unique and a pleasant challenge to have to solve on not only a short-term basis, but a long-term basis.
Right, excellent. Again, thanks very much for the chat today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.